What is going on, guys? It's Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense. Let's continue our biology playlist, specifically a section about genetics. In previous videos, we had an introduction to genetics. We talked about Mendelian laws, the first law of segregation and the second law of independent assortment. We talked about why DNA is the genetic material and how scientists came to know that. We talked about the mutations, Punnett squares. We talked about gene maps. The Hardy-Weinberg equation was the last video. And today, let's talk about evolution. This is my biology playlist. Please watch these videos in order, especially the last one, because it was epic. Now, this is not a comprehensive video about evolution by any stretch of the imagination. This is just a very quick, rough and dirty review before your exam. Here's the thing. On the exam, they will try to trick you. They want you to answer that evolution is the exact same thing as natural selection. Not true. Natural selection is a mechanism through which evolution takes place. What is natural selection? In easy terms, survival for the fittest. If there is a certain characteristic in an organism, and this is helping the organism reproduce, producing reproductive success, i.e. fitness, then this characteristic is favorable and therefore more likely to pass down to the next generation. This is what Darwin said. He was focused more on the individual. But then came the modern synthesis theory, or neo-Darwinism, and modified the original theory by adding recent knowledge of the genetic inheritance and gene pools, because now we know DNA, nucleotides, we know about DNA replication, transcription, translation, etc. So they said the following. Instead of talking about a characteristic, let's talk about mutation and recombination. If you do not know what recombination is, watch my videos on meiosis and watch my videos about genetics in this biology playlist. If the mutation or recombination is producing success and fitness, it is more likely to pass to the next generations. Conversely, if the mutation or recombination is terrible, producing failure and non-fitness, therefore it's not gonna pass. What do you call this concept? Differential reproduction. Favorable or not favorable? More likely to pass down or less likely to pass down? Darwin was focused more on the individual organism, but the modern synthesis theory focuses more on the groups, populations. Populations do evolve. Individuals do not. What is inclusive fitness? It means that if you, as an individual, is fit, you should help others within your group. You should support your community, because now your species is more likely to survive for generation after generation. And here is a link between evolutionary biology and evolutionary psychology. What is punctated equilibrium? Sudden. What does that mean? Well, here's the thing. Darwin explained that this change is very gradual, slow and gradual over long periods of times. Other scientists added, yeah, this is true. However, after these long periods of slow evolutions, then after this we can have short periods of explosive evolution, sudden changes. Example includes the Cambrian explosion. Next, modes of natural selection. If this is the phenotype on the x-axis and the number of individuals on the y-axis, it follows the normal distribution curve, which is known as bell-shaped curve, also known as Gaussian curve, thanks to Gauss. And then we have three modes. If you eliminate the extremes and focus more on the norms, this is called stabilizing selection, by eliminating the extremes. And this will make your range narrower. Of course, this is narrower than this. Example, birth weight in babies. You'll find that babies are born within a narrow range. Yes, some of them are thin, some of them are chubby. However, there is a range. Doctors do not say 25 kilogram babies coming out of the womb. Why not? Stabilizing selection. Eliminate the extremes, narrow the range. Next, we have directional selection. What's that? Instead of being here, no, I am tilted, I am shifted. You can shift to the right or shift to the left. The graph is skewed, as you might imagine. Example, antibiotic resistance in bacteria. Some bacteria became antibiotic resistant. Oh, that's good for the bacteria. This is how it resists your antibiotics. That's why we'll make more of these bacteria. Directional selection. We're moving more in the direction of the bacteria that can resist antibiotics. Good news for bacteria, bad news for patients. Third, disruptive selection. Instead of eliminating the extremes, like in stabilizing selection, instead, we will keep two extremes on the two opposite ends of the spectrum. Two different shapes. Oh, polymorphism action. That's true, such as birds with small beaks versus birds with large beaks, such as the ones that Darwin saw on the Galapagos Islands. Next, reproductive isolation. We have prezygotic and postzygotic. Prezygotic prevents the zygote formation. Pre. So the zygote will not form. The union between the ovum and sperm will not form. How about post-zygotic isolation? Well, the zygote is formed. However, this zygote will die very soon, non-viable, and will not grow to become a healthy organism, or will grow but will be unable to reproduce, sterile. Prezygotic isolation could be temporal, ecological, behavioral, reproductive, gametic. Post-zygotic could be hybrid inviability, I am not viable, hybrid sterility, I am sterile, or hybrid breakdown. I was cool in the beginning, but then later generations will suffer. Now let's talk about each concept. Temporal isolation. Basically, we are living at different times. We are breeding at different times. How about ecological? We are living in different environments, different habitats, or different niches. So we do not get to see each other. So in the first one, time separates us. But in the second one, space separates us. Next, behavioral isolation. Well, the organism is not attracted to its mate. I do not feel like it. Honey, I have a headache. But what if she does not have a headache? Well, you can still have some trouble if this thing does not fit into that other thing, if you know what I'm saying. Even after all of this, you can still fail. Why? Despite intercourse, no fertilization happened. The gametes just did not like each other. The ovum and sperm did not meet, and the zygote was prevented from forming. Post-zygotic. Well, the zygote was formed, however, non-viable, died in utero, sterile, grew up but cannot reproduce. Example here is the mule, which is mixing or hybridization of a donkey and a horse, giving you a mule. Yes, it can live. It can grow, but it will not be able to multiply because it has 63 chromosomes, which is an odd number, therefore cannot undergo meiosis. I cannot divide 63 by 2 and get an integer. Third, hybrid breakdown. Well, I grew, I multiplied within the first generation. However, subsequent generations cannot reproduce. Subsequent generations are sterile. That's the breakdown between the first and subsequent generations. Next, patterns of evolution. Not to be confused with modes of natural selection. The modes of natural selection were stabilizing selection, directional selection, disruptive selection. But the patterns of evolution are divergent pattern, parallel pattern, convergent pattern. Divergent pattern. We start with a common ancestor and then we branch out. As time goes by, we become more different. This is going to the left, this is going to the right. Okay, do they have similar characteristics? Absolutely not. They are branching out. Their physical characteristics look different to the eye, and the difference is getting wider over time. Do they live in the same habitat or same environment? Usually not. Do they have a common ancestor? Yes. Example, seals and cats. Both belong to carnivora. How about parallel? Yeah, we start also with a common ancestor. Alright, and then we branch out, but we do not diverge. We kind of stay close, kind of close. The difference between us is kind of stable and not getting wider like the divergent one. The pressure by the environment or by selection is kind of similar, unlike the divergent one. Okay, how about convergent? Well, we started out way different from each other. We belong to different groups. However, we look similar to the eye because the physical characteristics are similar. Example, fish and dolphins live in water. They swim, so they look similar to the eye. However, this is one group, this is another group. From a taxonomy standpoint, common ancestor, the answer is no. Similar characteristics to the eye, the answer is yes. Similar and getting more similar as time moves on. And that's it. If you like this video, you will enjoy my renal physiology course on my website medicosisperfectionalis.com, as well as my brand new surgery high yields course. Look at this Volkmann contracture action right here. And as I promised you, in the next videos, we will have a cool review on biology and we'll do questions. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit the bell, and click on the join button. You can support me here or here. Go to my website to download my courses. Be safe, stay happy, study hard. This is Medicosis Perfectionalis, where medicine makes perfect sense.